Hi, I'm Aoife Devitt and welcome to 50 Faces TV. In today's episode, we are going to check in with a guest from Series 3, Artemiza Woodgate of Integrated Quantitative Investments. We thought it would be a good time to check in with her, given we've heard on the grapevine that quantitative strategies have not had a great 2025 so far. Welcome, Artemiza. Great to see you here.
Thank you so much for having me here. It's a pleasure.
Well, let's get straight to the point. What kind of a year has 2025 been so far for quantitative managers?
So I think it's important when we think about quant that we really differentiate between the different types of quants, because it's actually been a good year for some quants, but what you see, I think, predominantly in the news is CTAs or trend followers that have had a pretty difficult year, significant losses, a number of indices that you look at or a number of big players that you can follow. And especially around April 2025, that's been just particularly painful due to some sharp reversal across asset classes. Quant hedge funds have tended to do okay. Depends again on the strategy, depends on the fund, how they're doing. Maybe, some of the larger, more higher frequency, we've seen again in the news that have underperformed or maybe underperformed for the first time ever. I think it was Millennium that was in the news, but irrespectively, it's basically, it is very niche, and also you've had some unwinds due to the multi-strats basically closing certain groups completely. That then depends on if you're exposed to those unwinds, or if you're exposed to from a hedge fund overlap or kind of quant crowding perspective. If you have exposure to that, then you can be impacted as well. Or, you might have not even felt it. The other thing, we have had a big year in terms of macro. So again, if you had more of a niche strategy or, kind of on a one side only taking a certain risk bet, then that could have, again, really, impacted the positioning. But generally, I think, quant multi-factor investing, has been pretty okay. I know we've done, actually really well. So, hopefully, knock on wood, will continue. CTAs at the other end, were more the trend following kind, have been the ones that have been most impacted.
So quite a bit of dispersion then in terms of the performance and also the drivers, the various different macro drivers behind that. But when it comes to things, say, like funds closing down, would you say it's particularly challenging this year? Say, given some of the trends around interest rates, for example, has there been any one particular driver that you think it's made challenging for quants versus other strategies?
Right. So again, from a CTA perspective, trend followers, when you look at persistent directional moves, those have been, impacted because of these macro or switches in leadership. If you think about it, momentum has not just been weak or short-lived, but it has actually been kind of disastrous. And in April, you saw sharp reversals across a number of different asset classes. You also have changing macro uncertainty, whether it's shifting expectations, whether it was through the tariffs and inflation impact, interest rates, the geopolitical risk. Again, it's harder to basically create stationary environments where the trend continues and you have more flips in leadership. And yes, you're right that we have had these, challenging macro times in the past as well. And you have seen that as well when you've had challenging macro environments. You've had the same or very similar, impacts if you think about it, both on the quant side. You had the, quant crowding, the 2007 quant crisis in August, but also around, COVID. I think it was March or February. I think it was March 2020, where you've had huge issues, and 2020 was then again a really difficult year for CTAs, as far as I know. And then you've had 22, 23, more volatile markets, more struggling, correlation shifts. 22 was a stellar year for CTAs. So, again, you have, these are, kind of part of the environment, part of the challenges that you face with different approaches in quant investing or different quant methods. It's not just one size fits all. And you sort of can expect them. I don't think what we've experienced so far is, outstanding in any way or shape or form. It's more, part of the course in many ways.
So it might not go down yet in the annals as another 2007, which seems to have been the annus horribilis for quantitative strategies.
Exactly, yeah. And especially '07 was, I think, particularly impactful because of the quant crowding. You had, again, those unwinds in certain strategies that then were through the tremendous quant overlap, impacted a lot of different other players. Nowadays, we've seen several of these, kind of pods unwind in different multi-strats so far this year, but it's been a very short-lived kind of impact. We noticed as well, 1 or 2 days, you're like, where does this performance come from? And then it bounces right back. So we're not quite at the same level of a quant crowding, I guess, across the market. I think a lot of different strategies have figured out a way to differentiate themselves, whether it's through basically understanding their own risks that they're taking, or really, understanding the exposures that they might have to the crowding factors. So you see more differentiation and therefore more stability in many ways across the different players.
So now it's time for the crystal ball. I'm going to ask you to give us your outlook for quantitative strategies in the near term. And I'm particularly interested in what you think the intersection of AI and quantitative strategies is likely to be. Do you think that AI is going to improve the environment for quantitative strategies and better enable them to navigate the competition as well as markets?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the time when I can just sit on the beach and do nothing, and AI does all the work for me. But of course, I need to get paid, which is kind of the tricky part, right? I don't think we're there yet. AI has been a tremendous kind of efficiency booster. We are heavy users of AI, but kind of by AI, I mean like more the latest, kind of LLMs and ChatGPT and those type of, co-pilot models. But machine learning has been in our DNA. Machine learning has been around for a very long time. So this is kind of more of a extension of machine learning into other areas. Generally, different machine learning techniques and different big data, techniques that have been very helpful to quant for the past whatever decade, let's say even. Those will continue because you continue to generate a lot of data. A lot of that becomes available to basically all the market participants. It's publicly available data, right? And so that data will still need to be processed. You'll still need to be able to draw the right inferences from that. And to do that, you will need the help of some machine learning model. It's going to be very difficult, more and more difficult to have a human process that. And so I'm very, I continue to be very optimistic about the purpose and the need for quant strategies and quant methods, when applied correctly, in deciphering and understanding how to create investments that are both, robust to different market factors, robust to different risk exposures. They are optimized vis-a-vis, criteria that the clients care about, whether it's excess return, whether it's volatility, whatever, so you can incorporate those in an optimal fashion, and they can be then translated into actual trades efficiently. So you kind of minimize the slippage in the implementation side. So that's I think will continue to be a great boon for our industry for the quant investing specifically. And then AI with the extra efficiency boost. We welcome it. Everybody, I think, does welcome it. There is a cost associated with it to the environment and a cost associated with, in terms of, right now we have a lot of tools that are free. The cost might go up as we internalize those externalities in a way that makes sense, whether it's through regulation or through just different players differentiating themselves and saying, well, if you want to get the really good services, you have to pay up and you have to pay up more, right? Rather than having the, whatever the freebie for all. But I see it as a, positive impact, and I see it as a efficiency of a great, help down the future. The question will remain, can you use it? How do you use it? How do you make sure that what you do, whether it's your machine learning techniques or how you use AI, is safe, it's robust, it's risk controlled, And those, still need to be answered by every market participant who employs these techniques.
Fascinating. So quite a bit of dispersion there. And clearly not all quantitative strategies are created equal. Thank you so much, Artemiza, for coming here, for taking out your crystal ball and for sharing your insights around quantitative strategies with us.
Thank you so much. It's my pleasure. Have a great day.
I'm Aoife Devitt. Thank you for listening and watching to 50 Faces TV.